Raw Mike Richards. A beautiful Monday. In fact, it's going to be beautiful both days. Temperatures into the 30s, as the weather people call it. It is going to be a heat event. Now, this is an event I want to attend. That's the kind of thing I like. Can't be hot enough. People say, what do you mean? The humidity, blah, blah, blah. Do you remember for February? Now, we didn't get pounded really that bad this winter. But do you remember winter? It's not fun. It's not good. Winter and I are no longer friends. I have been to Mexico in July and liked it. That's right, July. In a hot tub in Mexico. Nice. I've been to Italy in July. It was 47 degrees. No problem. I'll bring my own baby oil. Yeah. Now, David Parker's probably saying, okay, but that kind of exposure to the sun, probably not great. And what I wouldn't recommend is putting baby oil on your skin. It's not 1978 anymore. But there's certainly a lot of other things we can talk about when it comes to David and the 305, number 305. Bell's very happy with their Liquid Multivitamin. It's only been around, a couple of weeks. And I know it's very popular. They worked real hard on this particular product. So we go to our good friend, David Park from Nutrition House. How are you doing this morning, David?
I'm very well. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Very well. Now, before we start talking about the Liquid Multivitamin, you're a bit of a Blue Jays fan, are you not? A baseball guy?
Yes, I do enjoy baseball. It's my first sport. My first love of sport was baseball.
So are we happy then with this last little bit of a run? They sweep the Angels. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I just heard, what is it, like 4 or 5 games in a row?
5 in a row now. And the
Wow.
bats are starting to go because it's taken a while because the bats were pretty quiet.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years, is it last year, I think it was, that they were just, I think, number 1 in the league for runs. And I'll just 1 through 9, or at least 1 through 8, their bats were hot. They're all clicking.
So that means are they taking their multivitamin? Would you suggest, for instance, to Bo Bichette or Gurriel, who looks like he maybe had a whole case before he went out there yesterday? In terms of what this multivitamin does for consumers, for those that are going to take it, it seems like, and again, talking to guys like Doug Carey, that this is something they worked very hard on to be this effective. So what are we talking when it actually comes to taking this liquid multivitamin? What is it doing for your body?
Well, it's I'm glad Bell Lifestyles has finally brought this back out again, because they did have a liquid multivitamin in the past. And now that it's finally back, they have made some changes to it. And I like the changes that they've made to it. But in general, a multivitamin is something that will provide our body with nutrients that we're not really getting with our breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And I mean, take a look at our breakfast, lunch, and dinners. Maybe look at your breakfast. Do you think we've had enough nutrients for that meal? Like, we could probably get a little bit more. And that's where Bell Lifestyles multivitamin liquid comes in.
So are you saying my rye with the chocolate bar, no good?
You should probably splash a little bit of Bell's multivitamin on that chocolate bar, and maybe some in your rye, but yeah, I don't think that's giving you that many nutrients.
No, I wouldn't think so. Also, the taste, like the big part of people wanting to take something, aside from maybe a certain product where they advertise it tastes awful, but it works. For the most part, people, if it tastes awful, they just won't take it.
Yep. So, you know what, to be honest with you, we're getting our stock in for our Bell Lifestyles liquid multivitamin soon, very, very soon. And we can't wait. We're going to have our shelves stocked with the multivitamin. And we're actually doing a demonstration on it today at a local gym. Yeah, at a local gym. And I'm going to
that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm going to taste it for the first time myself, and looking forward to it. I was looking at the instructions, and you don't have to mix it with anything. It's not like a pure, super concentrated liquid where you have to mix it. But you could add a splash to a drink like water, or you could just take it straight as is. And they don't put any kind of sugar or artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no dairy, none of the, the mumbo jumbo that we come to see in some of the like the more inferior brands out there. This is an amazing formula that will help drive up energy, boost your immune system, and kind of normalize us during a stressful event.
Well, let's sort of take a look to at sort of demographics and what some of these things do. So let's just say you're a younger person. Okay, we'll say like for the sake of this argument, like in your 30s, and you're someone who does go to the gym, and you try to eat well, and generally people go to the gym, think about nutrition and so on, but I mean, you're getting everything. Why would someone, for instance, we talk about the gym atmosphere. What does that do in terms of their body if they're taking as opposed to not taking a liquid multivitamin? What are we looking at in terms of that someone who is physically active?
Well, anyone that's physically active, they are getting ready to stress themselves physically. They're going to undergo some vigorous movements, right? They're going to utilize some of their muscles, and that's a stress on the body. Not only that, but I mean, to get to that level, it's like mentally draining as well. So there's a mental stress aspect on that as well. And then finally, if you don't make your gains, then there's an emotional attachment to that too. And then we've got emotional stressors. But the thing with this Bell Lifestyles product is that it has some adaptogenic herbs in there, herbs that will allow us to adapt and normalize in those times of stress. So, someone that's like working out, I'm gonna do this today. We're gonna give a little sample to those guys that are like really pushing it, and they'll notice that they can bounce back their second set, their third set. It's a little bit easier, and it's pretty quick. The results are quite quick.
Well, which is, I'll be honest, for those in that world, that's great. I mean, anytime you can get sort of that kind of response from something you take is huge. For instance, I was surprised, which is why we did that commercial for Inflamex, because and I just noticed just the other day. Now, as I said, I've changed drastically my body in the last year simply because of what I had been going through. I'm being very public about my surviving colorectal cancer, right? So rectal cancer. And then I needed to have what they call a reversal. So the plumbing all goes back because I had an ostomy bag. And when I had an ostomy bag, it had herniated badly. So it just this thing that I had to carry around on the front of my belly, basically, and put on weight that I'd never, my body was never used to carrying that much weight. So today, as opposed to a year ago, March, I am down, and people, because I tried to hide it, but it was like almost at some points 35 and 40 pounds heavier than the person talking to you now. And my pant size, because of the hernia, I'm open about it. This is why you get a colonoscopy, because I'm one of the lucky ones, but it's still, I've had to fight to even get to this point because it herniated. I was 11 pant sizes bigger. So I had carried most of that weight, and not knowingly, for almost the better part of 20 years. And being someone who was always an athlete, always athletic, I'd go to the gym, to all of a sudden be that state, that size. And then of course you don't become, you just don't do physical things at all. I was too embarrassed to go into the gym. I was embarrassed about being in the locker room simply because of, I mean, if you'd showed people what was underneath those clothes in a locker room, some of those guys would be getting therapy after they saw what that was, because I felt like the Elephant Man. Like, it was really quite difficult. And I'd carried that for the past 7 years. So now I'm at the point where, and again, having another, looks like an operation, July the 14th, just found out to have meshing done on the rest of the stomach, because it's trying to do it again, like a much tinier degree, but it's yet another procedure I have to go through. And so you can avoid all of this, all of it, by a quick 15 to 20 minute visit to your doctor or a doctor to get a colonoscopy. It's peace of mind. And at the very best, and at the worst, you're stopping what could be disastrous for you as you go down the road. So I always suggest to people to really do that. So as I'm going through stuff like this, so I'll actually, after the meshing and everything else, so I think probably sometime in August, for the first time in years, we'll be going back to the gym. So I can guarantee you that liquid multivitamin, amongst some of the other things that I'm sure we'll talk about, you and I, even personally, about what I need to do in getting physical again after literally, I'm saying for real gym workouts, it's been 15 years, probably 15 years, because with a hernia, like a lot of guys who go to the gym, a lot of bodybuilders, a lot of guys in that world, hernia is a real issue because of what they push. So for me, I wasn't even going to get on a roll bar and start doing sit-ups, start working on the abdomen, because that's where you can't do it. And so I'll be able to do it. So when we talk, especially when I talk to you, Dave, to be honest, because you have a real good understanding of the body, what it takes, depending on what you do with your body. So there is no question, Dave, that this is going to be a major part of my return to normality, including seeing you and talking about some of the other things that I can use. And Inflamex was another one, because I felt, even with all the weight loss, occasionally at 58, having done some of the sports, including the triple jump, which was brutal on the knees, I occasionally need that stuff. And we talked about, and how this started was quick reaction. Inflamex to me worked very quickly. I was shocked at how effective it was.
Yeah, I think Inflamex is one of those prized products from Bell, just because of the makeup of it. There's certain, like, Bell is through and through a herbal company. They harness the power of herbs that the earth has, and it's amazing that they've combined brains, and they've collected all these wonderful ingredients to make things like the Inflamex. And when we use the Inflamex, I can feel it as well. If I have aches and pains, if I have backache, my shoulder hurts, I've had a couple knee surgeries. These are like, products like Inflamex are amazing because they reduce the inflammation. Of course, we want to have, our milkshakes, our drinks, our rye, our meats, our barbecue meats. It was just this long weekend. Like, I had some too. So these are all inflammatory foods. And when we bring in things like the Bell multivitamin liquid, it'll help with our digestion of these inflammatory foods. When we bring in Inflamex, these are anti-inflammatory herbs that are not hard on our body, but they just fight inflammation, which we're doing all the time. So I think this is we're positioning ourselves to be talking about Bell lifestyle products, and this is a great time because this is an inflammatory time, and let's reduce all the inflammation by using some of these things, right?
Well, I think it's really interesting that with the 305 liquid multivitamin, you're doing it today at a gym. But at the same time, if you're someone that's, let's say in your 60s, and you're still a relatively healthy person, but you're maybe not going to the gym, you're not, it's not what you did when you were 30. But I'm sure at some point, because of what it does, including, I guess, the immune system, that it does other things. It's just not something, it's not only good for people that are active. I'm sure if you're not as active, maybe it's more important.
Absolutely. Like, even if we're just sitting, our body is going through many different bodily processes. We're digesting food all the time, we're creating enzymes. But when there's nutritional deficiencies in our day-to-day, then our body is not working optimally. So when we're supplementing, and I'm not saying that we got to drink this 305 Bell multivitamin liquid like by the liter, but every day, by taking a tablespoon every day, it's going to help with bringing up our energy levels. It's going to help with digesting our food. It's going to help with our mental stability. It's going to help with allowing us to compartmentalize all the things that we need to do, because there's so many nice normalizing ingredients that allow us to kind of roll with the punches. That's what I feel with adaptogenic herbs, as well as the vitamins and minerals in the liquid state. You did mention your issues, and I really hope that is it July or June that you're having the procedure?
July. It'll be July 14th. Yeah.
So my prayers are going to be with you, and hopefully soon after, you're going to get on these multivitamins, because they will really help you, especially with the absorption purposes. Because it's in a liquid, the absorption would be very, very easy and very, very suitable, as well as effective. There's going to be some trying times up ahead, but we have all of these great nutrients at our disposal, Mike's, and I think we could really utilize some of these things, and you're going to get healthy in no time, back in the gym in no time.
Well, this is, as I said, this is a big part of, the transparency. The reason this was called Raw Mike Richards even back in the day, and it wasn't like a shock jock thing, like it was a stern thing. It was just basically the raw truth. So I would speak very honestly, and as I said, the transparency in what I'm going to talk about, because I know there are others out there who haven't had a colonoscopy. Or they just had it, and like, what do you do now? When we have these segments with you, it's like, well, I'm about Richard's age. I mean, I kind of had a similar background. When these guys talk, they're kind of talking to me. Well, that's the idea of this. That's why we do these things. That's why Monday is so important when we have these. And as I said, I definitely will be seeing you, because then once I get my health back, and once I get the body where I want it, then I say we go full on steroids, and I become huge.
Interesting.
I think it sounds like a great idea. I get thin, but at the same time, like no neck, biceps the size of pumpkins, because I think that's the look I'm going for.
Well, I mean, we're about, what, 34, 40 minutes away from that talk with the AAW, what was it? Yeah, those wrestlers were
AEW,
amazing.
that's right. There you go.
That's what I grew up on, the Hulkamania,
Yeah,
Warrior. I don't know if you remember Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
of course.
He was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's right. He could have used number 305 liquid multivitamin. Hey,
Yeah.
David, thanks so much. It's always a pleasure. Love talking with you. And I said, I know I'm going to see you soon as well. But as people listen to this, he's at square one in Mississauga. And what I'm talking about is something that he can do with you personally in the store. So once again, it's Nutrition House, Square One, Mississauga. If you want him to deal with you personally, not that hard to do anymore. No, we don't have to worry about the masking and roadside deliveries. You can go in the store and talk to David. That's why we do this. And we hope you do it, because trust me, it'll be worth it. So thanks so much for this morning, Dave, and we will see you soon.
Sounds good, Mike. Take care.
That is David Park, Nutrition House, once again, Square One, Mississauga. We were talking this morning, number 305 liquid multivitamin.